Welcome back, Bruce here with the DIY Homestead Projects channel. In this video, I'm going to mount this Vevor diesel air heater into the off-grid workshop. Now, the way I see it, there's really two ways to mount these in like a workshop environment or in a shed or a building or a house or something like that. One is to mount the whole unit outside the workshop so that the burn chamber, exhaust, and air inlet are both outside the building, and then run two tubes, one on each end. One pulls air from inside the building, runs it through the heater, and blows it out hot back into the workspace. And that way you don't have pressure variance between the workspace and the outside. And you're getting circulated air, which is the most efficient way to use one of these as far as I'm concerned. Two would be to mount this unit inside the workspace and then have two holes where you're venting and exhausting. So you're pulling air from outside into the burn chamber and pushing the exhaust back outside. Again, you don't have any pressure differential between the inside workspace and the outside workspace, so you're not trying to suck cold air into the workshop. So what I've actually decided on is I'm going to mount this unit inside the shop in the floor. So I'll drill a hole and cut a box out 4.5 inches wide by 2 3/4 inches tall. So this will be mounted up pretty darn close to the wall, but right on the floor. And that's how these were designed in the first place, for like a car parking situation or an RV or a semi-truck or something like that. Would you mount this plate to the floor, mount the heater unit to the top of the plate. The air intake for the burn chamber and the exhaust will both go outside, and so would your fuel line, fuel tank, and fuel pump. So that's how I decided I'm going to do it, and I don't have to get into the side and the sheetrock and the insulation in order to put those 3-inch holes into the side. I mean, I was this close to cutting those holes. I got a real nice hole saw kit from Benchmark Abrasives that I was going to use to cut those holes with. Even picked up a nice 3 1/8 inch, which is perfect for these exterior holes, but I've decided I'm not going to do that. I will drill 4 small holes, maybe 1/4 inch holes around this box that I'll draw on the floor, and then use my jigsaw to cut that out with. So that's my plan, and then that way I can get full heat out of this thing, recirculate the air within the room, and no exhaust or gas or fumes or anything inside the workspace or the off-grid workshop. So anyway, I'll meet you guys out at the off-grid workshop, and we'll get to drawing that out exactly where I want to install the diesel heater in the off-grid workshop, and we'll go from there. So I don't know if you've seen my shed build video or not, but I used a 10 mil plastic underneath the floor as a vapor barrier so moisture doesn't creep up into the bottom of this floor material. So I cut that out. The saw cut most of it pretty darn square, pretty nice, so it was tied up against the bottom of this floorboard here. And then I'm using this aluminum duct tape, aluminum one side and sticky on the other, and I've stuck it underneath there and stuck it to the bottom of the plastic just so I can pull it up and get it sealed up against around the edges there. I don't know if this is that critical or not, but it looked like it was going to be pretty easy to do, so that's what I decided to do. I just put 4 strips around there so it's holding that plastic vapor barrier up against the bottom of the floor all the way around this opening, so I don't get anything crawling up in between the vapor barrier and the bottom of the floor. currently have the installation basically complete. At some point, maybe I'll build a bench or something over the top of this diesel heater that's in the floor. I've got a rig up over here until I get a more permanent setup, but I'm connected to the SFK 280 amp hour battery and my complete 400 watt off-grid system. And right now in the shed, looks like we're at about 28, maybe 30 degrees Fahrenheit, about -2 or 3 Celsius. And I'm just going to leave that thermometer right there. It's about 3 or 4 feet off of the floor. I'm going to fire this heater up and we'll run it for an hour. I'll come back out and we'll check it. I did clean off the panels, but you can see it's still coming down. I'm still getting about 6 amp of charge power off of that though, on a snowy overcast day, which is pretty good. It's enough to replace the power that the heater uses. All right, let's see, we can get it fired up here. I've got this in mountain mode. And we'll start it up. Got it on the number 3 setting. It goes up to 6. We'll just leave it right there. And that on the floor is showing 0 degrees Celsius. But that's going to stay on the floor for now, so it's going to show us what the temperature is on the floor, I guess. We'll go out and look at that exhaust and see what's going on out there. There's some snow on my fuel can, and I mounted that crooked on purpose. I've got the fuel line coming into the can right here. Just drilled a hole, and it's got a heavy clunk on the end of it that takes it down to the bottom, so that'll get the most of the fuel out of the can, make most of it available. Looks like my exhaust is covered up. Smoking a little bit. Let's clear that out. I can hear the pump underneath the shed ticking away, smoking a little bit till it gets up and running. I heard it just now ignite the fuel. We'll come back out and look at that after we get going with it. It's 25 outside. Plenty of air, but it's still cool. Not heated up yet. Anyway, I'm gonna go back in the house where it's warm, shut the door, and let this run for an hour. We'll come back and check it. All right, it's been an hour. I just came out and brushed off the panels again. That's not even touching that battery. Plenty of solar to keep up with the diesel heater in this snowstorm anyway. Little bit of reduction in fuel, but it doesn't look too awful bad. I never did mark it, I just going by what it looked like before. And cleaning out a little bit around the old exhaust there. Let's go inside and see what the temperature showed. Find my light switch here. Whew. So it's gone up about 15 degrees. It's about 46 or 8 degrees Celsius. 3 feet off the floor. It's actually comfortable in here. It's not extremely warm or anything, but it's comfortable. And oh yeah, that's nice. Feels good on my cold hand. And I put this tube on there with this vent because this vent kind of kills some of that noise. Quiets it down just a little bit. Let's see what we're doing here. 5 degrees on the floor, Celsius, at floor level. Still got a little bit of the snow here. It didn't melt the snow yet off the floor. But that's a tolerable level as far as the sound and the noise on 3. Yeah, I'm so far liking it. I'll come up with a bench or something to build over the top of that. Maybe a bench that rolls so I can roll it back out of the way if I have to get in there and remove it or work on anything. I got some up and coming improvements to do to the 400-watt solar system, as well as putting up a fuse panel for the 12-volt side of things. In the near future, I'll be working on some videos putting that in. I do have some Renogy upgrades I'm going to be doing to this system that I think you might enjoy if you're into the Renogy and the solar side of things. So stay tuned for those videos. And if you're not already subscribed, consider subscribing if you like this sort of thing. That way you can get notifications when I put up a new video. So check out the video on the screen now for another DIY off-grid project, and we'll see you over there.